What's up, it's Phil from Fit Will Expose. In today's episode, I'm going to be giving you guys my two biggest tips for building big delts drug-free. So delts are probably one of my favorite muscle groups apart from traps and upper back and the long head of the triceps, but it's a muscle group that I've been studying for the last few years, and these are hands down my two biggest tips, my two biggest secrets to building them drug-free. So it's very common to see a lot of lifters in the drug-free community with big legs, big pecs, big arms, but seldom do you ever see a lifter with big traps and big shoulders drug-free. That's not to say that's impossible, but you just have to take the right approach, you have to have the right consistency, and more importantly, you have to have the passion for developing these muscle groups. So walk with me and I'll show you guys my secrets. Okay, so the first tip to getting big delts drug-free is rear delts on top of rear delts on top of rear delts. I'm talking high volume, high frequency, high exercise selection, and also train the rear delts to failure. So why do I say the rear delts? It's because that's the thick part of the shoulder. That's the part that gives you the 3D look. And when people say that you have big shoulders, they're usually referring to the rear delts, because you can have big front delts and still have small shoulders. And if you have side delts, it's okay, but without the rear delts, you're not gonna have that 3D look. So if you look at someone from the side, it's all rear delts. If you look at someone from the back, it's all rear delts. And from the front, it's a lot of rear delts too, because the rear delts push the side delt out. So you could have a mediocre side delts, but if you have big rear delts, the side delts can be popped out so much that it's going to give the illusion of bigger shoulders nonetheless. If you look at most bodybuilders, they'll train the delts maybe once a week, and they'll probably sprinkle in some face pulls or some rear delt flies at the end of the session with half-ass intensity. Like, that's really going to do anything. That means they only train the rear delts 4 times a month. On the other hand, what I would recommend is that you train your rear delts 3 to 4 times per week. So 3 on the low end and 4 on the high end. But you really want to get volume and frequency in. You want to hit them through a multitude of different rep ranges and intensity techniques. You do stuff like rest pause, you can do time sets, and you also want to hit them with a lot of rear delt swings. So this is a lift popularized by John Meadows. It's a lift I've been talking about for a couple of years now, and if you do it in the constant tension fashion, so you don't make the dumbbells touch while you're on the incline bench that's around 30 degrees, you're going to notice that your delts are just going to be on fire. And it's really easy to take your delts to the next level, push them to the limit with this movement, because the lower back isn't involved, and it's just a beautiful thing. So if you look at something like the Tom Platz hamstring curl, I'll post a link in the description. You see how Tom Platz is basically pushing this guy to do the hamstring curls to the limit, and he's going to absolute failure. I want you guys to take your rear delt swings to absolute failure. You shouldn't be able to feel your rear delts after that set, and you should be doing this several times per week. Okay, so when you see people doing their 20 rep squats, after the set you'll notice they want to puke, they're cramping up, they have a huge pump, and they're just extremely tired. You should get somewhat of a similar feeling when you're done your sets of rear delt swings. So if you do them properly for high reps, like I'm recommending, at least over 25 reps, all the way up to maybe 100 reps, you should feel somewhat of the same sensation. And I personally like to spend a lot of time in around the 40 to 60 rep range, just like John Meadows, and that's going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. Okay, so on a final note of the rear delt swings, you want to make sure that you're doing a multitude of different variations. So if you look in the description box below, I'm going to post a link to a video of my top 5 favorite variations that you're going to benefit the most from, with bands, different grips, and all that good stuff. So another great rear delt tip you can incorporate is to do rear delt rows. So basically, instead of having your arms right by your sides, you're going to have to flare them out a little bit. That's going to engage more the upper back and the rear delts. So if you're doing your heavy day in your program, you could have some barbell rows with your elbows flared out. Then on your light day, you could have some super high reps of rear delt swings, get a total of 300 reps. Then on something like your medium day, you could do another variation of the rear delt swing for more moderate reps with a bit higher weight. Okay, so my second biggest tip to building big delts drug-free is regarding the shoulder press. So when doing the shoulder press, you have to understand that there's pretty much just 2 phases of the lift. There's the tricep phase, and then there's the shoulder phase for the most part. So once the weight clears the forehead, you're pretty much in tricep territory. That's when the triceps pretty much take over and they finish off the lift. Although from around the clavicle level to around the forehead, that's shoulder territory. That's when your shoulders are getting the most recruitment, the most amount of stretch, and that's when you're breaking down the most amount of muscle fibers in the shoulder area. So what you want to do as a drug-free lifter who's trying to get bigger shoulders is to spend more time at the bottom. You have to stop skipping the bottom. So start doing more pause reps, start doing some Arnold presses when you're doing your dumbbells. Just find any way to get more and more comfortable at the hardest part of the lift, which is the bottom. Yeah, so I just did a Q&A with Josh Bryant, and when he trains his bodybuilders for building the biggest shoulders possible, he's a huge advocate of the seated dumbbell shoulder press, with the half full press technique. So you're basically gonna do 2 half reps and then you're gonna do 1 full rep, and that's considered 1 rep. And he does this with his bodybuilders because he wants them to spend more time in the bottom position, like I was telling you before. So push presses are still great, but for the most part, try your best, just spend more time at the bottom, make the shoulders work hard at the bottom, and you're gonna reap the benefits. Yes, there you guys have it. Very short video. Not every video has to be super complicated and super long, but those are my 2 biggest secrets, the most bang for your buck tips for building big shoulders drug free. So if you want a part 2, let me know. But for now, this should be plenty. It's blast your rear delts like a madman with the rear delt swing, rear delt rows, with the multitude of different rep ranges and intensity techniques. And the second tip is to spend as much time in the bottom position as possible on your shoulder presses. Don't be half repping it, and take it more seriously. Start prioritizing it. There's nothing wrong with making shoulder presses a main lift, at least temporarily or for the long haul. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. What brought your shoulders up? Let me know if these tips have helped you out. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.